Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about why I both love and hate research. So if you're watching this and you're not one of my coworkers or one of my parents, you probably don't know that I'm currently researching a ship called the Marine City. It started its life as a barge on Lake Huron in Michigan, 1866. Although in 1867, just a year after it was built, not even actually, it was converted into a steamer. The reason I would like to talk about the Marine City is because it catches on fire and sinks in the year of 1880. And if you know anything about me, you know I'm obsessed with shipwrecks and boats just failing to work. And for those of you who don't know, for work, I write a weekly newsletter that I send out to people. And in this newsletter, there's a section called This Week in History, and it's about a boat that sank that week in history. And so the anniversary of the Marine City is coming up, and I'm considering talking about it because I think it's interesting. And so I've been researching not just the sinking of the ship, but the history of the ship, starting from its construction. And I have been using newspapers.com, which is, me and newspapers.com, we are literally like this. We're besties, okay? I use that shit all the time. And I don't even have to pay for that shit because the local historical research center lets me use their account because I used to volunteer there, which is so amazing. But that's besides the point. The point is, I have been researching the history, the entire history of the Marine City, the steamer Marine City, the originally barge, but now steamer Marine City that was built in 1866 in Michigan, okay? Basically what I did is I looked up Marine City, then I narrowed down the search to Alpena County, which is where the Marine City was based out of. Then I narrowed down the search even more to the years where the Marine City was in operation, so 1866 to 1880. Then, even further, I narrowed it down and I cut out 1880 so that I wouldn't get any articles about the sinking, so I could focus solely on the history of the boat. While I was going through the history of the boat, chronologically, might I add, I came across numerous accidents. However, there was evidence of an accident that happened that baffled me beyond belief because I could not find any record of this accident actually happening. Okay, let me explain. I found 2 articles published in the Alpena Argus, which is the local Alpena, Michigan newspaper. One was published on September 12th, 1878, and the other was published on September 18th, 1878. They both detailed repairs having been done to the Marine City after some sort of incident. They do not describe the incident, but they do describe the repairs done to the Marine City, which include a replaced crank pin and a complete engine overhaul. Now, I was like, wait, where did this come from? Because when you look at the other news articles in September 1878 about the Marine City, everything seems like business as usual until September 12th. On September 5th, there's something in the Times-Herald from Port Huron, Michigan, talking about, oh, it passed by today. Then there's something on September 7th from Sheboygan, Michigan, talking about, oh, it passed by today. Then there's something on the 9th from Port Huron again, talking about, oh, it passed by today. And all of the regular weekly ads about the Marine City's excursions and trips and stuff, like they're all still running in the newspapers like usual, like normal, like nothing's happened. But then on September 12th, all of a sudden, she's had a complete engine overhaul. And all of a sudden on September 18th, oh look, there's actually more damage that we didn't realize when we did the initial inspection. And now she has to go in for more repairs. And I'm sitting here like, when the fuck did this accident happen? And how long did it take them to do these repairs? Because from what it seems like, there is a 3-day gap between the last time it's reported passing a city and the time it's reported as being back in business after repairs. So I was so confused. And I kid you not, I exhausted every single resource that I have access to as a civilian to figure out this contradiction of facts. I work at a maritime museum, so I went through our archives. We had nothing. I called other museums. They had nothing. I called libraries. They had nothing. I called historical societies. They had nothing. I got in contact with a man who had access to state and federal databases, and he found nothing. So at this point, I'm about to give up. And my literal only hope is to ask my coworkers if they know of any other resources. Because again, I work at a maritime museum. So I have the perfect people to ask at my fingertips. And I honestly don't know why I didn't ask them earlier. So we're having our weekly meeting, and I casually bring up at the end of it, hey, I'm doing research on this boat, and I'm having a little trouble finding a certain article about a certain incident. Can anybody help me? And my boss goes, let me send you a link to one of our online databases. And I'm like, I thought I already checked our online databases. He's like, no, this is a different one. I'm like, oh. So he sends me the link, I check it, and there are 3 different ships called the Marine City. Weirdly enough, there are 2 different ships called the Marine City built in 1866 in Michigan. Even stranger, they were both initially built as barges. And then I'm combing through all of the newspaper.com articles, and I find a tiny, tiny word in one of the articles talking about the repairs to the Marine City. They refer to it as a barge. But at this point in time, in 1878, remember, the Marine City that I'm researching was converted into a steamer in 1867. So this opens a whole other door of possibilities, because now I'm thinking there's 2 marine cities that were built as barges in Michigan in 1866, and one of them, the one I'm researching, was converted to a steamer, and the other one that had this incident happen to it, where it required a new crank pin and an overhauled engine, was the other marine city, which was not as popular as the marine city based in Alpena, and therefore it wasn't reported on as much, and therefore the news of the incident didn't make the news. However, for some reason, the news of the repairs did make the news. Guys, I fucking figured it out! And this is what I mean when I say I both love and hate research, because I hated the looming anxiety that I have been feeling for the past few days of like, oh my God, I don't know if I can actually find the answer to this. And I literally spent so much fucking time trying to find the answer to this one specific tiny little question that literally nobody cares about except me. But at the same time, the feeling that I got when I finally realized there were 2 different marine cities and I was just mixing them into one boat, and that's where the confusion was coming from, that feeling was better than sex. That feeling was better than drugs. And that feeling is why I love research. Okay, that is the end of my rant. Thank you very much for watching. If you are still doing so, I really appreciate it. I really just needed to vent and get this off my chest. So yeah. I hope you have a great day or night, depending on what time it is by you. And I hope that when you go to sleep tonight, your pillow is cold on both sides. Bye-bye.